He tricked an entire town into saving a kid who was never real, and that was just the beginning. Bart's so-called pranks have crossed every line, from life-threatening stunts to chaos that nearly turned deadly. Stick around, because the last entry flirts with eco-terror and shows why a skateboard and a slingshot can be weapons of mass chaos. But first, let's rewind to the day Bart faked a miracle and almost buried himself alive. 1. Radio Bart. Birthdays are supposed to be harmless. Cake, bad singing, maybe a present that squeaks. Leave it to Homer to gift his son a plastic superstar celebrity microphone, a thrift store gadget that hijacks local radio frequencies. Bart's initial shrug turns into a predatory grin the second he realizes he can beam his voice into any household within a mile. Cue the first victims, Rod and Todd Flanders, convinced God himself is commanding them to stroll through a solid wall. Funny, sure, until Bart drops the mic down an abandoned well and pretends to be Timmy O'Toole, a helpless kid trapped underground. Springfield erupts into charity mania. Carnivals pop up overnight, benefit records drop featuring Sting, and Channel 6 runs 24-hour coverage. Only one problem. Lisa notices the mic still labeled "Property of Bart Simpson." When she confronts him, Bart laughs it off until paranoia kicks in. He sneaks back at midnight to fetch the incriminating evidence, tumbles headfirst into the shaft, and transforms fake tragedy into a real emergency. The town's compassion flips to fury. Mayor Quimby flip-flops on live TV, and Reverend Lovejoy mutters something about natural selection. In the end, it takes Homer, a stolen jackhammer, and pure dumb luck to dig the boy free. Springfield's solution? Hammer a splintered "Caution Well" sign into the dirt and call it a day. Springfield wasted thousands of tax dollars on a lie, yet Bart's next prank shoved a classmate off a cliff and nearly turned the school memorial service into a funeral. 2. Dial-in for Nerder. A sunny afternoon in Springfield Park looks innocent enough. Lisa sketches wildflowers. Martin Prince digs for arrowheads. Bart, bored, decides the scene needs pizzazz. He swipes Sideshow Mel's bone prop, rigs it above Martin's head, and pulls the string. The bone conks Martin square in the noggin. The boy stumbles, flails, and disappears over a rocky ledge. Silence. Then a distant splash. Panic flickers across Bart's face, quickly smothered by denial. Lisa pleads to call the police. A Bart bicycles away, ringing his bell to drown out conscience. Chief Wiggum later reports that wild cougars probably offed Martin. A candlelit vigil follows, complete with tear-soaked speeches and a pre-recorded violin track. Guilt metastasizes. Bart can't sleep. Lisa hallucinates cougars behind every curtain. Meanwhile, Nelson, Springfield's self-appointed Sherlock of playground justice, starts sniffing around. He finds the bone, the string, the skid marks. Just as Nelson corners the siblings, Martin strolls in, underwear waistband acting like a life preserver. Turns out he survived on creek water, and pure enthusiasm for homework. Relief washes over Bart, but the rap sheet remains: reckless endangerment, obstruction of justice, and trespassing when he sneaks into Martin's greenhouse to finish the butterfly project. 8 years in juvie? Probably. Instead, Skinner hands him detention and a stern glare. If near manslaughter doesn't ground Bart, maybe Grand Theft Auto will, because his next escapade starts with a forged driver's license and ends halfway around the world. 3. Bart on the road. Principal Skinner, desperate to rearrange airline tickets, invents "Go to Work with Your Parents" Day. Bart lands the DMV with Patty and Selma, 2 women who chain-smoke boredom. While they file paperwork, he snaps a headshot in the license booth, laminates it, and presto, becomes Bart Simpson, age 25. Within hours, he's rented a powder blue Dodge, recruited Milhouse, Nelson, and Martin, and sold them on a fake National Grammar Rodeo in Canada. Stops include an Andy Williams concert, a hitchhiker who smells like mothballs, and Knoxville's Sunsphere, now a wig shop that collapses when Nelson throws a rock. Stranded and penniless, the boys contemplate hopping a boxcar until Bart hatches Plan B: smuggle industrial eyeballs to Hong Kong as couriers. Somehow the forged ID passes. Skinner glimpses Bart boarding a plane and chalks it up to heatstroke. Lisa finally breaks, informing Homer. The furious father orders a nuclear console part shipped from Oak Ridge under one condition: package includes 4 idiots. Bart shoves his friends into a wooden crate, mails them home, and spins a heroic tale over meatloaf. Crimes, forgery, interstate transport of minors, property damage. Sentence: 4 years and $25,000 in fines, or a gentle pat on the head and boys will be boys. Free from legal fallout, Bart turns domestic discord into seismic danger, literally shaking Springfield's foundations just to feel alive. 4 postcards from the Wedge. A crumpled note from Mrs. Crabapple reveals Bart's Everest of missing homework. Homer roars punishment. Marge worries about crushing her son's love of learning. Bart spots the fissure and pries it open, pitting parents against each other while he does exactly 0 assignments. With free time to burn, he and Milhouse explore Springfield's abandoned subway tunnels. Graffiti, rust, and rattling chains aren't enough mischief. Bart hijacks the control booth, revs the antique engines, and sends unmanned cars rocketing under Main Street. The town quakes, lampposts shiver, Moe loses half his liquor stock. Strange how no one can trace the quake until Bart drafts a melodramatic confession note, purposefully misspelling elementary so Lisa will know it's fake and Homer will panic. Homer races to the kill switch just as the subway barrels beneath Springfield Elementary. One yank stops disaster inches from the foundation. Bart is thrilled. At last, Mom and Dad looked up from their squabbling and saw him. Charges? Attempted destruction of public property and an act flirting with terror. Punishment? A week in his room with no TV. Household structures saved? Bart sets sights on a more intimate target, his father's skull. 5. So it's come to this. April 1st, dawn. Homer superglues Bart's cereal spoon to the ceiling fan and swaps the OJ for motor oil. Bart endures prank after prank until patience snaps. He commandeers a paint mixer from the garage, slots a Duff can inside, and cranks the dial until the aluminum whines. The moment Homer cracks the tab, the can erupts like a grenade, blowing out windows and catapulting Homer into a glass coffee table. Hospital monitors beep. Dr. Hibbert jokes about paralysis. Hilarious, Doc. Barney tries mercy smothering with a pillow. Homer staggers for a vending machine, slips, cracks his skull, and slides into a coma. Weeks tick by. When Bart finally confesses, Homer bolts upright, seizes his son's neck, and squeezes life into the ward's visitor count monitor. Medical bills? Ruinous. Brain damage? 5% tissue loss. Legal repercussions? None. Because family business, apparently. Terrorizing Dad is one thing. Deafening half the city with a chain of megaphones is public enemy territory, and that lands Bart in boot camp. 6. The Secret War of Lisa Simpson. During a police station field trip, Bart notices a stack of confiscated megaphones. One is funny. 30 chained together are irresistible. He whispers "test" into the first. The amplified shockwave shatters squad car windshields, ruptures eardrums, and sends every pigeon in a 10-mile radius spiraling. Chief Wiggum offers sage advice: send the boy to military school. Bart arrives kicking, screaming, then adapts. Lisa, craving academic rigor, enrolls too, and becomes the first female cadet in Academy history. Hazing ensues. Bart secretly mentors her, sacrificing his newfound popularity. Climax: the Eliminator. A sky-high rope crawl over thorn bushes. Lisa freezes halfway. Bart cheers until her muscles obey. Both pass, metals clink, and Homer promptly drags them to the dentist instead of Disneyland. Springfield forgives Bart's sonic crime after a semester of push-ups. Actual punishment served: a buzz cut. After military school, you'd think Bart might retire from torment. Instead, he discovers the thrill of emotional warfare, courtesy of Ms. Krabappel's lonely heart. 7. Bart the Lover. Detention is boring, unless your teacher forgets her purse. Bart rifles through Ms. Krabappel's personal ad. Educator seeks soulmate. Save me. 3 words ignite his cruelest prank yet. He invents Woodrow, a rugged man based on President Wilson, and writes fragrant letters plagiarized from Homer's discarded love notes. Krabappel, starved for affection, swoons. She mails glamour shots. Bart replies with a hockey card photo of Gordie Howe. The teacher blossoms. New dresses, new laugh, then schedules dinner at the Gilded Truffle. Bart skips the date to watch Ernest Goes to Camp, cackling as Krabappel waits alone, candle guttering. On the walk home, he spots her weeping in a parking lot, and guilt finally pierces his rhino hide. He confesses to family. Marge drafts a gentle breakup letter. Woodrow must leave to pursue higher duties, but will always treasure Edna's fire. Krabappel reads it, cries, but heals. Bart's sentence? Detention, outdoors, flying kites with Edna, the breeze carrying away the sting. Emotional catfish forgiven, Bart looks abroad for fresh victims and drags the entire U.S. State Department into the crossfire. 8. Bart vs. Australia. It starts with sibling rivalry. Lisa claims water drains clockwise, south of the equator. Bart refuses to lose. He dials random Australian numbers, posing as doctor. Bart Simpson, hydrology department. A gullible kid named Tobias performs sink tests for hours while the meter runs. Result? A $900 bill and one enraged father whose neighbor happens to serve in Parliament. Australia indicts Bart for fraud. Under diplomatic pressure, the Simpsons endure a 19-hour flight so Bart can apologize. At the airport, he smuggles a pet bullfrog in his backpack. Cute, harmless. Customs miss it, nature doesn't. The frog escapes, breeds, and devours crops within hours, effectively becoming an invasive plague. Parliament demands corporal punishment via booting, a steel-toed kick to the rump. Homer protests, chaos erupts. The family flees flees in a helicopter while Australians pelt them with Foster's cans. Last shot, a koala clinging to the chopper's skid, eyes glowing with colonial vengeance. Telecom fraud, eco-smuggling, petty indecency. Bart's rap sheet goes international. Actual repercussions, a torn passport and a lifetime ban from Sydney gift shops. One town, one nation, and countless victims later, only one question remains. How do you solve a problem like Bart Simpson? From broadcasting fake emergencies to nearly detonating his own school, Bart Simpson has perfected the art of unpunished mayhem. Each prank ratchets higher. Local fraud, near manslaughter, cross-country crime, emotional cruelty, eco-terror. Yet the consequences rarely surpass grounding or a mild scolding from Chief Wiggum. Is Bart the byproduct of parental neglect or Springfield's collective enabler? Maybe both. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If Bart faced real-world justice, he'd rack up decades behind bars and fines rivaling Mr. Burns' pocket change. But in cartoon physics, rubber band reality snaps back, resetting every Sunday at 8 p.m. Still, even animated worlds carry moral weight. The more Bart dodges accountability, the more Springfield teaches its viewers, young and old, that charm can outrun responsibility. And that, dear audience, might be the biggest crime of all. So now it's your turn. Should Bart finally do time in a juvenile cell, enlist in a permanent military academy, or pay restitution until he's 40? Drop your verdict in the comments. Just remember, no matter what punishment you dream up, Bart's probably already scheming his next great escape.